Definitely not how they drew it up. Chelsea traveled to Middlesbrough in the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg and lose 1-0. Let's get into it.
And blue is the colour. Essien! Drogba! Lampard! That could be the
championship. Greetings! Welcome back to Couch Critic with me, Dennis P, for what is your Chelsea match review, but more specifically, a tactical synopsis of Chelsea's performance against Middlesbrough in the Carabao Cup. But you already know, before we go any further with this video, I need you to do me that favor. It's real easy. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification to keep up with the latest and the newest. It'll help me and it'll help my sponsors who go by the name of Major League Socks. And fellas, if you ever want to walk in the footsteps of greatness, you know what to do. Just hit them up. The link will be in the description. I feel like we're here again. Once again, this team getting in a position where we feel like we're finally feeling a little bit more comfortable where we're playing, what we're doing. We're finding results, 6 of the last 7, and then they drop a stinker, in the Carabao Cup semi-final, like an absolute stinker. Whether it be the manager, whether it be the playing staff, everything was just horrible today, and we're going to get into that. But I can't for the life of me figure out why this squad cannot figure out how to play with any sort of consistency. One week you see one thing, one half you see one thing, the very next half you see something completely opposite. And, there's a lot of things that we need to cover right now, because a lot of the talk on the streets right now is that Chelsea don't have a manager who has the ability to change things. And while I do agree with that on a certain level, I still think that what are you changing to? Still think that these injuries are a big problem with this club right now. The only 2 recognized players, regular players that we had in the side today that were on the bench was Broja, who not really a regular if we have a full fit squad, and Mudryk. Everyone else was just youth team and 2 goaltenders again. So when you're telling him to change it, switch up the tactics, and you want to see something different from the first half, because clearly Middlesbrough are doing enough to snuff out whatever it is we're trying to do. What is it that we're looking for? There's no action that he can bring off the bench that's going to change the way we play. But truly, I don't even want to start there. Let's just be real. In the first half of that game, Chelsea had a whole host of opportunities to put this tie to bed in the first half and took absolutely none of them. And I feel like I sound like a broken record. This squad continually creates opportunities, whether it's be with their high press, their ball possession, their ability to win the ball high up the pitch, put lots of pressure on the defense. They continually create opportunities to score, gilt-edge opportunities, and time again, we seem to miss the key opportunity. I'm not talking about 1 or 2, I'm talking about 3 and 4. And then at the other end of the pitch, Chelsea get counterattacked and it's a goal. They take their one opportunity that they get. We can't take the 5 or 6 that we create for the entire match. And this is just an ongoing thing. What is it that is keeping this squad from hitting the back of the net when they're 1v1 with the keeper? I mean, Cole Palmer has been fantastic for us all season long. And, I don't really want to be digging him out at this point in time, because he's rescued a lot of points for us this season. But my goodness, man, you have 2 unbelievable chances to just hit the back of the net in the first half. The tie is dead. There's the one where he intercepts the ball right outside the 18-yard box. He's walking in 1v1 with the keeper and he puts it wide of the net. Didn't even test the keeper. That's not his quality, man. I can't take that. I can't allow for that to happen. And then on the flip side say, well, Pochettino out. And then the next opportunity, a stinging shot from, I think it was Enzo, rebounds right to him. We're talking about inside the 6-yard box. And he fails to hit the net again. He just scuffs it. It goes over the bar. Because what happens now is, the squad is getting galvanized by the fact that we cannot score no matter what opportunities we're given. They're feeling galvanized in what they're trying to do. They're reinforced by the fact that we're frustrated and we can't find ways to break them down. And then, of course, they get that goal at the other end, and of course, they have something to hold on to now. And, as Chelsea go, we just have all sorts of problems breaking down low block defenses. And that's for a number of reasons. It's not just because we don't have patterns of play that take us into areas where we can like destabilize a defense. But even with that said, I don't think that Chelsea lack patterns of play. Like if you watch the game well enough, you would know that Chelsea were looking to attack specifically down the right-hand flank. We were looking to go 1v1 with Madueke in wide areas, looking for cutbacks at the top of the box. We were looking for Malo Gusto to come in the half spaces and look to swing in crosses. If you notice, there was times where Madueke is hugging the touchline, and then you had, Malo Gusto just inside of him in those half spaces, just outside the 18-yard box there, and he was looking to just hit the early crosses and whatnot. That was the game plan for the most part, and we got into those positions multiple times. We just could not create anything really, and every time that we did, it was just poor decisions once again. And again, I hate to sound like a broken record. I really do. We're going to have to go deeper than what we've been saying in the past and look for some more solutions or more reasons as to why this is not working right now. I've already touched on the fact that Chelsea have a young playing staff, and to find that way of playing takes more than 4 months. They need to develop the stamina and endurance to play these matches, and these young players just don't have it at this point in time. Chelsea played on Saturday. Obviously, it wasn't a great game in the first half, but we came away and won in the second half. And now we're looking for them to play on Tuesday, and it just seems like this young squad just does not have the stamina and energy to put on the same sort of performance, week after week, match after match. So that is a problem, but not the only problem. There has to be something else to this. Is it the manager? Can we actually just start pinpointing the manager at this point in time in the season? We're into January now. We've seen his methodology for about 4 or 5 months now, and I have to start questioning whether or not what he's telling the playing staff is actually seeping in. Is he able to coax these performances out of these players? You've heard me bang on about this almost for at least the last 2 weeks now, where a manager of his ilk, who is supposed to be in charge of getting this young playing staff to buy into what it is that he's selling them, is having problems getting our best thinkers on the pitch, our best players, the ones that we depend on to win matches, to have great performances. I mean, today wasn't a great example of that, because I thought Caicedo was very, very good for us for large chunks of this game. But once again, Enzo Fernandez just... Again, stamina one thing, but also just not really putting us into positions where we are, on the front foot and we're looking to kill teams, like playing those killer passes. There's so many opportunities today where Chelsea were looking for runs off the ball, in that final third, and, the runners are making the runs, and it's just not being recognized by our midfield. It's not being recognized by our center backs, and it's just so frustrating. But getting back to this manager thing, I really think that the problem is this guy is having a hard time communicating what it is he wants to this playing staff. Young players take a little bit more time to understand what it is that you want, but at the same time, you have to be able to coax good performances out of the players that you consider to be the most talented in your squad. And he refuses to do that. I have not seen that yet. The best performances that we've seen all year are coming from Conor Gallagher, who's a guy that we don't necessarily or shouldn't be depending on for wins and losses. This is the big problem that I have right now. So it's either one of two things. We have a playing staff that struggle to, adapt to what the manager's asking of them, or we have a manager that's struggling to communicate what it is that he wants from them. And in any case, that is just horrible at this point in the season, because, the matches are coming thick and fast. We are, a young squad. We have a lot of injuries and whatnot. And if we cannot get the communication right between the playing staff and the manager, we have big problems. And I feel like that's part of it right now. It's just become so frustrating to watch this team play and not enjoy what you're seeing on the pitch. And, granted, we always have possession. We're always holding on to the ball. And I like possession game, but I just don't think that this is ideally what this team is cut out to do. Chelsea look to me like they're best suited to be playing on the counter. Like it or hate it, that's what we need to be doing. We need to be sucking teams in and hitting them on the counter. It's no secret that Chelsea play their best games when they're playing against top level opponents that also like to possess the football and also like to, press high up the pitch. Because once we have that space in behind where the likes of Mudryk, Raheem Sterling, Madueke, Palmer, whoever it may be on the pitch, where they have that space to run in behind, that's when we're at our best. In that first half against Middlesbrough today, we had those opportunities. We pressed them high up the pitch, won the ball back in incredible areas, and again, not only do we just not take the opportunities, but the decision making once again has just been so poor with this team. I thought we solved that. I thought we solved that when we signed Enzo Fernandez. I thought we solved that when we brought in Cole Palmer as well. But I still feel like we have not addressed offensive thought production. Like somebody that can get on the pitch and dictate what it is the manager wants. Who is the extension of that? Who is it? It's either it's not being communicated as a manager, or these players just don't have the ability to be that on-person, that offensive thinker for us. And in any case, it's just not good. You go into a game against Middlesbrough in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup, and you come out looking lethargic and slow. You don't have any ability to change the game. You change the tactics a little bit. Obviously, we did see Cole Palmer play the false nine, which, I don't know, I felt like it should have been enough. Obviously, it wasn't very good, but he had about 3 or 4 opportunities to score and didn't take any of them. I felt like we had enough on the pitch to see us through this match, and we just didn't see anything. I'm seeing Disasi playing on the left and Thiago Silva playing on the right. And, then maybe 15, 20 minutes later, I'm seeing them switch, and I'm seeing Disasi on the right and Thiago Silva on the left. Now, maybe that was tactical and in-game switch because most of their attacking play, most of the pace that was coming on down that flank was on Middlesbrough's right, where we had Colwill and Thiago Silva in the first bits of that game, and maybe that was the tactical switch there to put Disasi, who's a little bit more pacey, in on the right side to deal with that. But it just made no sense. We don't have a center back pairing as is, and the guys that are the more mainstay guys are being switched from left to right all the time. Like it just shows that we have so much disorganization in the build up to matches and whatnot. Like, what is it that makes you think that in the first 15 minutes we're going to play Disasi on the left and Silva on the right, wherein Disasi's never played on the left for us, first of all, and then 15-20 minutes later you're going to switch it back and put Silva on the left. It just reeks of disorganization. So if there is a stick that you want to beat Pochettino with right now, the one that I cannot get out of my head is the fact that when we come into these matches, we don't look like we have a real semblance of what it is we're trying to do. And it's either he's not able to coax the great performances out of our better players, or he's not able to communicate to the players that we have on the pitch that this is what we're trying to do, this is how we execute, and I mean, it's tough. It's really, really tough to watch this team right now. And I didn't hear the comment, but it did come out in the media that, Carrick was saying that the reason why, they were attacking specifically down Chelsea's left is because Colwell's playing left back and he feels like he can get at him and whatnot. And sure enough, he did. I mean, even for that goal, I don't think that him playing left back was any real problem there. I think that was just poor defending altogether. Obviously, he's beat for pace by Jones. I think that's his name. He gets back at him, gets goal side, and you expect him to just deal with the situation there as any center back, any defender would, especially of the level of, Colwill, Chelsea defender. Instead, he doesn't get close enough and he can't block the cross. It goes right through his legs, and it's onto Hackney, if that's his name, and it's in the back of the net. That's the only opportunity they produced of any real quality, and it's in the back of our net. Now, if that is down to Carrick reading what Chelsea are going to do and then executing a game plan that was effective enough to, pierce our back line one time, that's credit to him. But what is it that is marrying, Pochettino to this idea that Colwill is a left back? I mean, he's shown us time and time again, even in the last 3, 4, 5 matches, that he's not capable of dealing with pacey wingers. He's not capable of dealing with or giving us the thrust going forward that we need. He's not reading the game well enough. When we're pressing up the pitch, he's getting caught out and doesn't have the pace to get back. What is it about him that you want to see him at left back game after game after game? There's nothing that I'm seeing in his play, whether offensively or defensively, and least of all in transition, that would lead me to believe that he needs to play there every game. It's just, what are you seeing that I'm not seeing right now? Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. I still think that this needs to be rethought in a real way right now. Like, it's the elephant in the room. We continually are playing players out of position and expecting them to just put in A1 performances for us. And, for young players, when they're playing out of position, you expect them to be relying on their instinct. I live on this. Players in particular, when they're on the pitch, are going to be relying on their instincts when they're on the pitch. If you are a defender and you're asked to be an attacker in the box and whatnot, you are going to think the game as a defender, not an attacker. Your instincts will not allow you to, naturally just be like, well, I'm an attacker right now, I'm just going to bang this in or whatever. Your instincts will take you to where you need to be on that pitch. And for me, Colwill is just completely lost right now on the pitch. He just has no real structure to his game right now. Doesn't know when to get touch tight to his man. He's fearful of pacing behind. Doesn't have the spatial awareness where to keep the defender in front of him and not allow him to jockey him and whatnot. He doesn't have the ability to, understand when he needs to get down the pitch and overlap. And then at the end, when he does do that, he's always caught out. He doesn't know where to be to get back into position and whatnot. So there's a couple times, even when he's holding like the halfway line, like the half line, like when he's holding that space, he's still making errors in those areas where, he's coming inside to try and win the ball when his responsibility is the left flank, our left flank. And, it's just a plethora of errors. And like, as a manager, like, I can't believe that Pochettino's not seeing this and not addressing it. Like, we're just not seeing any real work being done, whether it be on the training pitch or in the actual game, to rectify these situations. But I refuse to believe, and this is where I'm going to end this video, I refuse to believe that Chelsea are not working on anything on the practice pitch, on the training pitch. I refuse to believe that. It's just whether or not these players are capable of executing a game plan, capable of taking on what the manager's telling them. Is he asking too much of them? Is he telling them to do things that they're incapable of doing? It could be a whole plethora of things, putting them in positions where they feel awkward and uncomfortable. It could be a number of things, but I feel like these are the items that are keeping Chelsea from finding any sort of consistency, any sort of form, and any sort of just real, cohesive understanding on the pitch. I'm sick and tired of seeing Chelsea play against low-level opponents and look like they don't have a clue of what it is they're trying to do. Ultimately, I want to see consistency, and I want to see, some of our better players reach their higher levels under this manager. If he can't do that, if he can't coax good performances out of our best players, then he's not the manager for this team. But I do think I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm so disappointed. I mean to tell you guys that I was all over, social media today. I was on Gem's stream, and on Twitter and whatnot, and I was just talking about how this team is starting to find some semblance of form. There have been hiccups here and there. Our performances haven't been great, but we're picking up wins at a crucial time of the year. And, it just seems like every time you say that and you feel better about what's happening, you get these performances where, it's just inexcusable. Like, this is a team in Middlesbrough who played on the weekend as well, have a plethora of injuries, and our individual quality, our talent should be seeing us through these matches, and it just isn't right now. And I don't know where to point the finger. I know that it's both sides of the argument. It's Pochettino and it's also the playing staff. But, ultimately we have to be able to overcome Middlesbrough in the championship and find a way to win these matches. It's just that simple. We've spent a whole plethora of money on players that we expect to be difference makers for us, and we're just not seeing those performances right now. But again, this is the first leg, and we have a lot of time to turn this tie around. As the infamous Nazir Jones said, this is only halftime. It's halftime. So, let's hope we can turn it around the second leg. But until then, keep the blue flag flying high and up the Chelsea. Peace.